So,
With me now, Adrian Huston, who's a former tax inspector and now tax consultant. Adrian, morning to you.
morning, Danny.
Okay, so Angela Rayner says she paid the stamp duty she was advised that she owes, and the BBC understands she consulted 3 people about the situation. Now turns out she should have paid more. Is that an easy mistake to make or not?
Well, stamp duty is a messy tax. There's no doubt about it. But if she consulted 3 people, the guidance is pretty clear on the HMRC website. There's a section called "Who should pay the higher rate?" I think it's called "Higher Rates of Stamp Duty Tax," and it says that if a child under 18 is involved in the ownership of the property, the parent can be deemed to be an owner and therefore pays a higher rate of tax if that parent goes off and buys a property. So it's a curious one that the advice was not to pay the higher rate of tax. But the important thing is that HMRC doesn't care what the advice is. HMRC says the penalties, and there will be penalties likely to be levied, penalties for failing to pay the right amount of tax will follow because you made a disclosure and paid a certain amount of tax, and it was wrong. The revenue does not care that you were misadvised or that you forgot to check something. They say, you made a mistake, you pay the penalty. And their view is, broadly, if you've got a problem with your advisors, then go and sue them, but we will want our tax, our penalty, and interest from the date you should have paid the right amount of tax.
Okay, so it's potentially the £40,000 difference in the stamp duty that she paid and what she should have paid, and plus interest and a fine on top, do you think, potentially?
Yes, absolutely. The fines come in 2 levels. There's what's called an unprompted disclosure, which is where Danny realises that he forgot to declare that shopping centre he opened. He says to the revenue, hey, look, guys, I forgot this. That's an unprompted disclosure and has a penalty level up to maybe 30%. But if you get into a prompted disclosure, that's where someone says to Danny, like maybe the revenue writes a letter or there's a huge public outcry, Danny opened this shopping centre, I bet you he didn't declare it. And then he says to the revenue, that's a prompted disclosure and the penalties are higher. You have to be careful about these things. If she can persuade them that it was merely careless, she could be looking at 20-30% penalty on the tax. But it was definitely, this disclosure was definitely prompted by the media and political outcry.
It is still my dream, by the way, to open a new shopping centre. Maybe that'll come to me one day. Who knows?
Keep telling yourself.
Thanks, Adrian, for that. Okay, and in terms of coming to financial advice like this, it all falls on the individual rather than any advisors that she's consulted.
100%. I mean, these payments, the stamp duty, it's normally being paid by the conveyancer or the solicitor who handles the purchase of the new property. So it seems harsh that the revenue will simply look to the taxpayer, in this case, Ms. Rayner, for any tax and penalties. But that's the way the system works. And then if the taxpayer who feels that they've had to pay this penalty for being naughty, if they feel aggrieved at the advice they got, then they would typically consider suing their advisors. So one of the questions for her will be, did I get an absolute clear advice, this is okay, the low rate applies? Or did I merely get a suggestion that it's probably okay? Did she pay for the advice? She didn't pay for the advice. It was just a solicitor she met in a coffee shop that she knows. That even muddies the waters. But at the end of the day, HMRC just looked to her for the tax, the interest and the penalties.
Appreciate your insight on that. Thank you, Adrian. That's helped. Adrian Huston there, former tax inspector, now tax consultant, with a view on that, with that sentence he read from the HMRC website, sort of clearly stating the situation. And as we heard, because she was talking to Sky News about this last night, and Angela Rayner was talking about her family situation and their house in Greater Manchester, which has been put into a trust for her son who has disabilities. So he will always have somewhere to live. And at the moment, her children live there and her ex alternately live there. So rather than the kids going to the parents, it's a reverse situation as to what's probably more common on that one. But when you're trying to sort out things after a separation like that, you're trying to do the right thing by the kids, and so that's part of the story here. Your thoughts, please. 0800 232